Welcome to the Flourishing Introvert Talks with me, Jo Rawbone. This is the podcast that celebrates the natural gifts of introverts so that we can flourish in all situations. Episode 201. What do you have to be grateful for? This is the second episode in my Gifts and Gratitude series, and the first episode was a letter to my younger self. Writing that letter made me realise that I have experienced so much that I'm grateful for, even though it was often tough, painful even, and I rarely appreciated the experiences at the time. It reminded me why I need a regular gratitude practice, which must include appreciating the gifts that I have within and around me, not just those that I give to others. We can be so caught up in conforming to who and how the world seems to want us to be. And then, when comparing ourselves to those unrealistic ideals, we find we come up short, which makes it all too easy to overlook the incredible gifts that each of us possess simply by being ourselves. Our individuality, experiences and perspective make us who we are, and it's time to really own and celebrate our unique qualities. It's time to honour who we are. There is a meme I see regularly that says, gratitude turns what we have into enough. And there is real wisdom in that quote. I don't tend to make resolutions, they've never inspired me, but I'm making a commitment for you all to hear, and that's to be grateful for the gifts, talents and skills I have. To be grateful for the life, health and love I experience. To be grateful for the passion I feel and the dedication I have for my mission to shift the extroversion bias. These things are what keeps me going when people minimise the impact that the extroversion bias has on people. They enable me to work the hours I do, putting the necessary foundations in place that I know someday will support the shift we'll experience. They enable me to stand in my power and be quietly gutsy. Look, I could moan that things are taking too long, or that people who could make a difference are ghosting me, or that the peaks ahead of me seem too daunting. Or I can plan my route, prepare my toolkit, take a deep breath and take the first step. So what do I gift myself? I've spent decades raising my self-awareness and getting to know who I really am. And that work continues, not because I'm changing beyond recognition, but because over time I have. I lacked self-confidence, had low self-worth and almost non-existent self-esteem. And those three things are different and yet completely interrelated. Self-esteem is derived from knowing that I have worth. So that's a great place to start. And this comes with a warning, as in trying to establish our worth, we can get drawn into comparing ourselves to others, which is not helpful. So it's not about how you compare to others, but where you are on your journey. It's back to that interiority that McHugh talks about in her TED Talk. Unlike superiority or inferiority, which need others around to compare to, interiority is uncomparative externally. It's about figuring out our true gifts and using them in service of our purpose or life goals. So it's about possibilities, potential and progress. Interiority doesn't, and actually shouldn't, stop me from being curious about what others are doing. As my team will tell you, I often explore why others are getting the traction they are. But I'm not comparing myself to those others as I used to, so it has a different energy. That's because I now know that we're all on our own paths and none of us is right for everyone. This is about me being the best version of myself and you being the best version of yourself. So if there's any comparison to be done, it's with previous versions of who we were. Self-worth, then, comes from what you think of yourself. And this is where many introverts need to be kinder to themselves. If you're an overthinker, the likelihood is you'll think badly of yourself more often than not, focusing on all the things you did wrong or could have done better. So I'm going to encourage you to try some self-appreciative inquiry instead. You can still use the 4 Ds of traditional appreciative inquiry, and they are discover, dream, design, deliver, where you discover what works. What do you value most about yourself? What are the peak moments when you have felt most alive, energized, committed, and fulfilled? Where you dream what might or could be. In honoring your past experiences, what are the possibilities of the future? How can you capture that dream as inspiration? We then need to design necessary systems and structure. So what do you need to put in place so your dream can become a reality? And the final D, of course, is to deliver what you dream or desire. This is about committing to and taking action with plans and milestones to support you on your journey. The discovery phase is where I often spend quite a lot of time working with my introverted clients, as they tend to believe that they are worth less, as opposed to worthless. This is because they are still caught in external comparison, or they have taken on the feedback and criticism that has been dished out to them since childhood. And that's understandable. The years or decades of bias eventually take their toll. So in this season of gifting and gratitude, the greatest gift you can give yourself is that of interiority. If you listened to last week's episode, which was my letter to my younger self, you'll probably have picked up that it was finding my interiority for the first time that enabled me to stop pretending to be something I wasn't, to stop pretending to be extroverted. McHugh asks, if you could be the human of your dream, who would you be? Typically, the main thing stopping you from being that person is what you think of yourself. So please spend some time over this festive period being kind to yourself, as opposed to being delusional or doubting. And with humility, find that sweet spot of interiority. If you're anything like me, this may become your life's work from this day forth. And if that's the case, it will be gloriously intentional and rewarding work. At the end of every day, practice gratitude, because there are plenty of scientific studies that prove gratitude is good for us. Dr. David Hamilton, who I'm a huge fan of, shares 3 of the reasons why gratitude is good for us. Number 1, the studies show that gratitude makes us happier. This happens when you count your blessings, not your burdens. Number 2 on the list, the studies show that gratitude is good for the heart and the cardiovascular system because increased stress hormone levels from mental and emotional stress negatively impact cardiovascular health. And number 3, the studies show us that gratitude helps us to achieve, as it becomes a self-sustaining positive cycle where we notice more opportunities and have more to feel grateful for. There are some pretty compelling reasons right there, don't you agree? This is free, but it takes effort. Pick a time of day to regularly commit to practicing gratitude and stick to it. Make it a habit. Make a note of what or who you are grateful for, and if you can, share it. This practice becomes even more powerful when we share our gratitude. I'll be starting my annual gratitude sharing in January as part of World Introvert Day, and I'd be delighted if you'd join me. I share for 100 days as a commitment to myself, And you can choose how long or how often you share. In summary, appreciating the gifts of who we are is a transformative journey that requires self-acceptance, self-confidence, and a deep understanding of our individuality. It enables us to unlock the true potential within us and positively impact the world around us. Remember, you are a one-of-a-kind masterpiece, and the world is waiting to see what you bring to it through your unique gifts and talents. If you enjoyed this episode as much as I did, then please subscribe, rate us and leave a comment, because we know that that helps other people find the podcast. And if other people find us, other introverts can flourish.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.